Marcus Agrippa Luci Filius Consul Tertium Fecit, meaning built by Marcus Agrippa, son of Lucius, third time consul. This building, the Pantheon in Rome, was however built by the Emperor Trajan and finished by Hadrian. After over 20 centuries, it doesn't look as good as it used to, and it's no longer dedicated to all gods.
The name Pantheon comes from the Greek words pan for all and theos for God. The first Pantheon was indeed built on this spot in 27 BC by Agrippa, a close friend of Octavian, the future Caesar Augustus. The decision to build a temple dedicated to all the gods came after the naval Battle of Actium in 31 BC, the bloodiest and most decisive battle of the final war of the Roman Republic, fought between Octavian against Mark Antony and Cleopatra. A temple where subjects could worship myriad gods from many different cultures and traditions was much needed at the time, and can be interpreted as a symbol of reconciliation for the many peoples who had been pit against each other in the war. The original Augustan temple was most probably built to a similar circular plan, but it was destroyed by fire in 80 AD, rebuilt by the Emperor Domitian, burnt down again in 110 AD, and then rebuilt for the third time in its current form. Keeping the dedication from the original building, rather than claiming it for himself, was a modest touch typical of Trajan. He did the same with many of his reconstruction projects in Rome. Roman architecture of that period wasn't built to the preferred personal style of a renowned architect, as is often the case today. The costs of building such a structure were enormous, and nothing was left to chance or whim. Trajan's architect, the famous Apollodorus of Damascus, had to follow strict instructions. For example, the building is perfectly round, and it faces precisely north, so that none of the niches containing the altar of a particular god would receive favourable lighting. The gods may have been invited here on democratic terms, but there is an interesting theory that the open top of the building, the oculus, may not just have been a logical solution for permitting light into the dome, but was also the signature of the emperor at the time of the first Pantheon's building, the circle thus interpreted as an O for Octavian. The Pantheon's dome is a miracle of engineering. It is a widely known fact that the dome is made of concrete, a very useful building material invented by the Romans, but it is considerably less well known that the dome has a pre-programmed structural density. The coffering one can see inside isn't simply decorative. It actually saves a great amount of weight. In fact, the higher the level of construction, the less dense the material used, with heavy solid concrete progressively substituted by a mixture containing an increasing amount of less heavy filler material, such as volcanic tufa and pumice. Had the dome been built from the same material, it would have been twice as heavy and structurally unstable. To put it bluntly, it would not have been able to stand. Remarkably, the Pantheon still holds the world record for the largest concrete dome built without reinforcement. The proportions of the building reflect the importance of geometric symbolism by the Roman builders. The height from the floor to the oculus is exactly the same as the diameter of the interior, 150 Roman feet, i.e. 43.3 meters. The inner surface of the dome is a perfect half globe, representing the Aristotelian celestial sphere. This temple to all the gods, alas, shared the fate of so many magnificent buildings in the early medieval period. It was abandoned and started to fall into disrepair. It would surely have been destined to become another source of building material, but for the intervention of the Byzantine Emperor Phocas in 609, who gave it to Pope Boniface IV. The Supreme Pontiff rescued the Pantheon from demolition by converting it into a Christian church. He had 20 carriages of holy relics from the Roman catacombs transported into the newly dubbed Sancta Maria ad Martyres. Unfortunately, 54 years later, even the presence of the earthly remains of Christian martyrs was not enough to prevent another emperor, Constans II, from vandalizing the new church. He visited Rome, was received with great honour by Pope Vitalian, and then stripped many buildings, including the Pantheon, of all ornaments and bronze, sending the spoils back to the new Rome, Constantinople.